extra. Now, we're just going to end with the Navalny situation, and just bring this lady on screen, the wonderful Alicia Kearns, who was stating in Parliament definitively Alexei Navalny was murdered, and it is important we in this House call it out for what it was, because that's what he deserves. She went on to say, following his murder, I was also in Munich, where I heard his wife, Yulia, ask us to stand by her. That's what we must do. Now, this was followed up. Now, she's, of course, the chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, but that comment was followed up by Leo Doherty, who's foreign minister, junior foreign minister, and he said she is right to use the word murder. We do seek to hold the state and the Russian leadership to account. So as a result, the UK government has now applied some sanctions, specifically on the head of the Arctic penal colony that he died in, plus 5 other deputy heads. So that's the UK's response. Just before we came on air, actually, the US announced that it was going to be issuing massive sanctions on Russia over this. I think 500 different people being sanctioned. But I just wanted to look at what John Kirby said. So here he is, and he said this. We would all love to know what happened here, because, of course, at this point, we still don't know exactly what he died of. Regardless of the actual scientific answer, Mr. Putin is responsible for it. So never mind the facts. Don't worry about what actually happened. It's absolutely Putin that's responsible, and nothing else to be said here. Then, of course, this morning or yesterday, we had the video coming out from Navalny's mother, claiming that the Russians are refusing to allow her access or to make a proper burial. Now, of course, the Russians are hostage to fortune on this. If they allow the burial to be a public event, it becomes a show burial, effectively. A show funeral. Otherwise, they get continuing attacks from the West and so on about the way that they're treating the family. But I just want to remind everybody that this narrative has been building for so many years. We have the Integrity Initiative. If you haven't read the articles associated with this page on the UK Column website, please do so. But also a related case, of course, the Skripal case. If you haven't seen this article, The Day of the Skripal, this is by Tim Norman. It basically goes through a timeline of all the mainstream media reports, and it's a great highlight of all the inconsistencies in the story. And we must never forget, with respect to Novichok in particular, because Navalny, of course, the accusation was that Novichok was the reason for his death, but also that he had been poisoned with Novichok a number of years ago. We must never forget that Dame Sally Davies, the chief medical officer at the time, claimed that the best way to deal with, if you suspected you'd come into contact with Novichok, was to use baby wipes, because that'll solve the problem. So that's how seriously we should take that whole narrative, and I suspect this narrative as well. But we'll talk more about that in the coming days. Debbie, let's just end with one final slide.
Yes, and look at this beautiful little face, and what a lovely message, and one that I think we should all hold fast. They want us to hate each other. Don't let them win.
Yes, indeed. A nice sentiment to end on. Thank you very much for everybody that's joined us today, and thanks to all our contributors today. We'll be back in a few minutes for some extra. We will see you then if you're a UK Column member. Otherwise, we'll see you at 1 p.m. as usual on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.